Thanks for watching and welcome to my channel. I'm Alida and you're watching Alidalicious. Today we're making this really tasty broccoli basil soup. It's incredibly creamy, it's vegan and super easy to make. For this recipe we need 1 broccoli, 5 potatoes, 4 small onions, 2 cloves of garlic and 1 bunch of basil. There's not really a limit for the amount of basil to put in a soup, so just take as much basil as you want. We also need black pepper, salt and 1 block of plant-based bouillon. I used a vegetable bouillon block from Zonatura. I really like the mark because they use nice combinations of herbs. To fry the onions we also need olive oil. Concerning kitchenware we need a cutting board, a small knife, a big cutting knife and a bowl. We also need a small cooking pan and a bigger one for the soup itself. Eventually we will also need a mixer, or if you don't have one, a potato masher is also fine. So guys, while you cut these onions, don't forget to curl your fingers because we don't want to have any chopped fingers in that soup. Anyway, we start off by peeling the onions. Next, cut the onion in half from the top to the bottom and take one of the halves. Cut it in 4 pieces vertically and then turn the onion around to cut it horizontally to end up with small pieces of onion. Do the same with the other half and repeat for the other onions. I always fry the onions before adding the water of the soup because it will make the onions a bit sweeter. We will also add the pepper before adding the water because it will make that spiciness blend in really well. When you're done cutting the onions, put them in a pan and add a generous splash of olive oil. My pepper jar releases the pepper when you turn around the top of it. I turn it around about 15 times to get the amount of pepper that's right for me. Put the pan on medium heat for the onions to fry and stir every now and then. Don't forget to put the lid back on the pan every time, otherwise the onions will get really dry. Now we fried the onions for 5 to 10 minutes. We will add the garlic just before putting in the water. But don't put the garlic in just from the start like the onions because it will burn the garlic and it will destroy the taste. We will add the garlic now just before adding the water. Peel the clove of garlic and cut it vertically in 2 pieces and then horizontally to make really small pieces of it. Do the same with the other clove and start cutting them even more. I know there exist special garlic presses for this, but a lot of garlic often stays in the garlic press, and the garlic presses always take relatively quite some time to clean, so I'd rather do it this way. When the onions look a bit brownish like this after 5 to 10 minutes of frying, we add the chopped garlic. While letting everything fry, don't forget to stir quite a lot. The garlic is much more sensitive for drying out and burning than the onions are. Put the lid back on the pan as much as possible in between. After 2 to 3 minutes of frying and stirring, add 1.5 or 2 liters or 7 to 8 cups of water to the soup. While the water is almost boiling, we will peel and cut the potatoes. After peeling the potatoes, take a potato and cut it in half. Take one of the halves facing the flat side to the cutting board and cut in 3 pieces vertically and then in 4 or 5 pieces horizontally. Do the same with the other half of the potato and with one other potato. Before cutting the rest of the potatoes, put the little pieces in a small pan and add some water to cook those potatoes. We will add these small pieces to the soup once it's done. Cut the other 3 potatoes in the same way and add them to the big pan to the soup. The most of the work is almost done, so let's get to the main ingredients. Wash the broccoli, remove its leaves and cut off the driest end of the broccoli. Cut the rest of the broccoli into small pieces. Once you're done cutting the broccoli, check with a fork if the small pieces of potato that we put in a separate pan are already just soft enough to eat, but definitely not too soft. Switch off its fire and add the pieces of broccoli to the soup in the bigger pan. After 5 minutes of cooking, check with a fork if the broccoli is soft enough to eat. Then add the whole bunch of basil to the soup. Something went wrong while recording, so I didn't record a whole bunch of basil going into the soup, but it's surely in there. Rub and push the bouillon block above the pan to powder it into the soup. Stir again and cover the pan with the lid to let everything cook for a few more minutes. While waiting, you can use your time to stay hydrated, always important, or to send a duck face kiss or a wink to somebody you like. It's almost Valentine's Day. But if you really want to have a good time, of course, dancing around is always the best option. After dancing around, take the mixer to mix the soup into a homogeneous fluid. However, it can be nice if there are still little pieces of broccoli left. When done, take the small pieces of potato to add them to the soup. Stir for the last time and you're done. So you can just eat the soup as a lunch, for example with some bread, but you can also just serve the soup as an entrance of a really delicious dinner. I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna try it. The soup is really creamy because of the potato. The little pieces of potato are like a bite. And the broccoli and the basil just taste delicious together. So guys, if this video was useful for you in any way, or if you just liked it, like, subscribe, and see you next week.